Hey everyone, this is the Joy of Data, and today we're talking about the tools that product managers could use in their daily lives to sprinkle some data and of course collaborate more effectively with the technical team. Now this is part of a broader series called the Joy of Data for Product, which is essentially geared towards organizations. I primarily catered for product managers, product owners, and to educate them on how they can use data to boost their decisions. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is the Joy of Data, and as you know, this channel is primarily dedicated to talking about everything data, all the insights, learnings, and experiences that I've had in my past career. And today we're primarily talking about product owners, product managers, and how we can help them utilize the power of data in their daily lives, or of course, in their organizations. So, if you like our content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel right there. Thank you so much. Now, let's get right into it. So, as you can imagine, different team members from either team, whether it's the product team or the technical team, will have different set of tools, different set of platforms and frameworks that they use on a daily basis. And with this comes different terminologies, different languages, and of course, different ways of working. Often this disparity leads to ineffective collaboration between these two camps, and both of them end up in an unhappy place. And this could mean that the data team or the technical team never fully understands the needs of product or business development. And on the flip end, the business team, the stakeholders, or the product team never fully grasps the results and the learnings that the data team comes up with and presents to them. Now the key here is to find a synergy between both these camps, which ensures a grasp of the common goal at hand and preventing gaps in knowledge in both camps. Now how do we achieve this? As I mentioned, there are a number of factors, but there, of course, are the two most important ones that we can talk about, and these are tooling and number two, concepts, language, terminology. So let's start with the first one, tooling. Now, the first aspect between bridging this gap between the product camp and the data camp is to talk about a common ground, which should contain the most fundamental pieces of information. For instance, a project or a task tracker. So if both teams have their own platforms where they're just tracking their own tasks or project, this can only lead to inefficiencies, miscommunication, and often frustrated back and forth between teams with no real progress. So the first and the most important thing to do, start with a single source of ground truth. What does that really mean? What it means is choose one particular platform or one particular framework where both camps can fully function. Now, this is where the problem gets a bit tricky because, as you can imagine, both camps will have preferences. Product teams will have preferences such as Monday, Trello, etc. And then technical teams will have preferences such as JIRA, Asana, etc. How do we solve this? So, key tip. Choose a tool that of course allows both teams to function while minimizing the change in their workflow. So, for instance, let's take JIRA. Now, as you can look at your screen, quickly blow that up, this is the JIRA board. Now, there's a lot to go through here, and I'm not going to do a deep dive into JIRA, but I'll go through the essentials because I'm going to make another video in this channel deep diving and giving you a full hands-on tutorial of JIRA. Okay, so let's get started. Now, the organizational structure in JIRA goes projects, and then for each project, you have a board. So let's assume I have a YouTube channel, which turns out I do. Now, as you can see for the project YouTube channel, I can start with first the roadmap. Now, the roadmap essentially consists of epics. The way you can think about epics is a short-term topic that will contain a number of tasks. So, for instance, in this one, I've actually renamed it to video. So, for each video I make, I have specific epics. As you can see, 2023, 003, and then all the different tasks underneath it. A simple way to create an epic is go create video, because I've renamed epics to videos here, and just say, I don't know, test epic. And there you go. What's also interesting is that you can then set the duration of work for this particular task. Let's say you want to start today, and then you want to go for 2 weeks, 9 days, 5 days, etc. Let's just keep it at 7 days so that the intended finish date is 31st March. So at this point, you've created your epic. What do? You go to boards. Now, You can have multiple boards. As you can see, this is a Kanban type board, but if you go through the JIRA documentation, you will find different boards and different sort of templates. Now, you remember we made an epic in the roadmap called test epic. So why don't we start making some tasks? We go back to our board, and as you can see, there's a parking lot for topics that you'll work on later, like to do, things that you need to do, in progress, things that you're currently working on, and the done one. So let's say you want to create a new task for the epic we just created. We go here, create issue, type test task to be completed. Then you click enter, and there you go. Now, this is just a template, but you can click on it, and now you can add the epic / the video, for instance, and say, oh, test epic here. You can add a description. Please complete test task. Now, often for technical team members, we have this sort of agreement where we say, hey, whenever you make tickets, maybe come up with this thing called an acceptance criteria, which basically shows you or tells you, when can I consider this task done? Consider task done when X is completed. There we go. Now, once you're ready to pick it up, simply move it to in progress and then done as needed. What is interesting is that if you go back to the roadmap, you will see that under your test epic, that task is right here. Now, this is just for one project, but feel free to create multiple projects, view all your projects in this dashboard, and for each particular project, you can also look at the topics or epics that you have. Now, one interesting note for product managers and product owners, JIRA has this interesting new template called Product Discovery, which already pre-fills a lot of the things that you will need. Now, this is an idea bucket, and as you can see, there's a ton of different things that might be relevant for product owners and product managers. Idea list, comments, insight, goals, roadmap, and the status. What's really interesting is that they also have these pre-filled templates, for instance, roadmap, which tells you which topics you want to tackle now, which topics for later, and which topics for someday in the future. Then it also has this graph which says impact versus effort. This allows you to understand which particular topics have a higher impact score or an effort score, and how to weigh them to understand which ones to tackle first. So this is JIRA, a tool that shows you how you can get closer to the technical team members, because for us, this is the single source of truth, and this is exactly what we're looking at on a daily basis to understand which topics to work on, which topics are currently being worked on, and which topics we have finished. Now that we've solved a common platform or framework where both camps can successfully look at their projects and tasks, what is the next step? The next best thing when it comes to reducing inefficiencies, miscommunications, and lost knowledge is, of course, documentation. Now, this is again quite a tricky one, because not only do some camps feel quite strongly about their tools, for instance Confluence over Google Docs, but also we have to remember that often there's a lot of legacy documentation in one platform or another. So, how do we solve this? Because having a single source of truth here does not work. So what we do here instead is have two separate divisions of documentation: the non-technical documentation and the technical documentation. For non-technical documentation, choose a tool that's easier for product or business or non-technical team members to open, interact with, and of course share. A great example is Google Docs, or even Tetra, for instance, or any other wiki tool. However, for the technical documentation, you have to choose something in the range of Confluence. This is important because not only is it a wiki that's already in the Atlassian ecosystem, but as I will show you now, it's very easy to link these documentation to their parent tickets. So, for instance, if you have a task or project that you're working on and you make a ticket of it on JIRA, you can then easily attach the associated documentation page on that ticket itself, and this is what I'm going to show you right now. So, you remember JIRA? I showed you a little bit of it and a preview of what can be done here, and this was the board we looked at. Now, the most interesting thing is that JIRA and Confluence are part of the same Atlassian ecosystem, which is why we can simply go here, click on Confluence, and there we go. As mentioned, this is primarily a documentation tool. But this does not have the same hierarchical structure as JIRA, which means there are no projects, no tasks here. Instead, there are spaces. So what we can start doing is create a space. We don't need a template. We can actually start with documentation, for instance. And you can name it the same thing as your project YouTube channel. And the interesting thing here is that because it's in the same ecosystem, all pages and all documentation that you write here can very easily be linked to that board and all of those tickets. So let me show you how. Let's start with a simple page. So let's say I just want to take the script for test video and we say, hello world, this is the new script for test video, and we are done. Of course, this is a very simple document and we can do so many different things. As you see, you can create action items, you can put images, mention people, insert tables, insert decisions, dates. A lot of things can be done, but we're not going to go into that. What I want to show you now is, let's say we go ahead and publish this page. So once this is published, how do we link this page to that particular task we created on JIRA? Simple. Let's go back to JIRA, click on the test task we had. Right here it says link issue, but then there's another one that says link web pages and more. So click on link Confluence page. And what's really interesting is your latest pages will show up here. And you can just say, oh, there's the page I just created, script for test video, link it. And there you go. Now, why is this relevant? So imagine product managers or product owners write a ticket and the acceptance criteria is consider a task done when X is completed. But a lot of context and information is missing for the technical team members to execute that. And this can be easily linked in this Confluence page. So for me as a data scientist or a technical team member, if I were to pick up this ticket, I click on the ticket, I look at the title, I look at the description, I understand the acceptance criteria, but wait, there's more. There's a Confluence page linked with full documentation right here. If I click on that, it takes me right there. And this is much more beneficial for both the technical team members and the non-technical team members, because now, not only can I look at this to begin my task, but once I finish my task, I can make a Confluence page with the results and analysis, and then go back and link it again. So there you go. This is one of the crucial benefits of Confluence, is the ability to be linked closely to that single source of ground truth, which is JIRA. One final thing that product people will really appreciate is, of course, the availability of free templates. So if you click on New Page, you will see a bunch of templates on the right. For instance, if we want to record meeting notes, we can just go and say meeting, and you'll see there's all different kinds of meeting templates. One-on-one meeting, all hands meeting, meeting notes, non-disclosure agreement. What this allows you to do is the ability to quickly use a template and not have to write all that boilerplate information. And this is your template already pre-filled. So you can just go ahead and list the participants, the goals, the discussion topics, action items. And once you're done, simply click publish and you're done. Now, we've gone through two specific tools, JIRA and Confluence, but it wouldn't be a complete video without mentioning some of the other superheroes. So here we go. So one of the things that Asana, I believe, does really well are swim lanes and individual project scopes. So whether it's a marketing, product, IT, operations, etc., each particular division of the company has a separate swim lane or a separate project. This, of course, also can be achieved with JIRA. Okay, moving to the next one, ClickUp. This is similar to Asana, JIRA, Monday, where as you can see, this is also a project management / task tracker. Of course, there are nuances and differences in features, and a lot of it really comes down to what your team prefers. Okay, and finally, for project management, tool number 3, Trello. Now, as you can see, similar to what we did in JIRA, they also have Kanban style boards, which means a to-do column, a doing, and a done. They have tags, they can assign team members, as you can see by the avatars. There's also a time of completion date, as you can see, and different labels for different colors. Now, similar to what I mentioned for the project management tools, there are of course different tools for documentation. These would be the two most well-known ones, Microsoft Word and Google Docs. Now, the only issue with these two is making sure A, for Microsoft Word, that everything is backed up on the cloud, and B, for Google Docs, that everybody actually has access, so making sure that the user permissions and access is well managed. I hope I was able to give you a short preview of what product managers and product owners can use in their daily lives to be a bit closer to us technical team members and thereby also collaborate more effectively. Now, if you like the content and would love to know more, please let me know in the comments below so that I can do a deeper dive into each one of these videos to show you how you or your organization can get started with these tools. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and of course, leave comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.